Hey Gemini,
Hey there, what's going on?
just getting ready to dive back into some cybersecurity studying.
Cybersecurity? That's a fascinating field. What specifically are you studying right now? Are you focusing on network security, ethical hacking, or something else?
Focusing on social engineering and password attacks.
Social engineering and password attacks, those are definitely key areas in cybersecurity. Are you studying specific techniques like phishing or baiting, or focusing on defense strategies?
Both. How's about we start off with some of the key principles for social engineering, like authority, intimidation, familiarity, trust, and urgency?
Those are definitely some of the core principles. Social engineers often exploit these human tendencies to manipulate their targets. Would you like to explore how these principles are used in different attack scenarios?
Yeah.
Alright, let's start with authority. Social engineers might impersonate someone in a position of power, like a system administrator, to convince their target to reveal sensitive information. How do you think familiarity and trust play a role in these attacks?
Feels like you would need to know or rely on the individual or even the organization, and trust, it relies on like a connection with the person.
Exactly. Familiarity and trust can significantly lower someone's guard. Social engineers might exploit existing relationships or create a sense of familiarity to gain their target's confidence. Do you want to explore any other principles?
Yeah, explain to me urgency.
Sure thing. Urgency is a classic tactic where social engineers create a sense of immediate need or pressure. They might say something like, "Your account has been compromised, you need to act now," to rush you into making a mistake.
What do you think is a key part of social engineering for understanding a target?
A key part of social engineering is understanding your target psychology. Social engineers often research their targets to learn about their habits, interests, and vulnerabilities. This information can be used to craft more convincing and effective attacks.
Well, that was good on some of the principles. What can you tell me about some of the social engineering techniques like phishing, vishing, smishing, misinformation, disinformation, and so on?
Sure, phishing is when attackers use emails or messages to trick people into revealing sensitive information. Vishing is similar, but it uses phone calls instead. Smishing uses text messages. Misinformation is false or misleading information, while disinformation is intentionally false information spread to deceive people.
What do you think is the most common between those?
They all rely on manipulating people through digital communication, whether it's email, phone calls, or text messages. They all try to trick you into giving up sensitive information or doing something you shouldn't.
Can you explain impersonation?
Sure, impersonation is when someone pretends to be someone else to gain your trust or access to something. They might pretend to be a coworker, a family member, or even someone from tech support.
So that probably deal more with identity fraud or identity theft.
You got it. Impersonation is a key part of identity fraud and identity theft. It's all about tricking someone into thinking you're someone else to steal their information or gain access to their accounts.
What about the business email compromise?
Business email compromise is a type of scam where attackers gain access to a company's email system and use it to trick employees or partners into sending money or sensitive information. They often impersonate high-level executives to make the request seem legitimate.
What about brand impersonation?
Brand impersonation is when someone pretends to be a well-known company or organization to trick you. They might create fake websites or social media profiles that look like the real thing to steal your information or money.
What about watering hole attacks?
Watering hole attacks are when attackers infect websites that a specific group of people often visit. The goal is to infect the computers of anyone who visits the site.
Can you give me an example?
Sure, imagine a company that makes accounting software. Attackers might target a website that many accountants visit, like a forum or a news site. They'd infect that website with malware, so when accountants visit the site, their computers get infected too.
What about pretexting?
Pretexting is when someone creates a fake scenario or pretext to trick you into giving up information. They might pretend to be a coworker who needs your password to access a file, or a tech support person who needs your login credentials to fix a problem.
What can you tell me about typo squatting?
Typo squatting is when someone registers domain names that are similar to popular websites, but with common typos. They hope that people will accidentally type the wrong address and end up on their site, where they might try to steal information or infect your computer with malware.
What are some other social engineering techniques?
Well, there's baiting, where attackers leave infected devices like USB drives in public places, hoping someone will plug them into their computer. Then there's quid pro quo, where they offer something in exchange for information. They might call you pretending to be from tech support and offer to fix your computer in exchange for your login credentials.
Could you tell me a couple more?
Sure, there's also tailgating, where someone follows you into a restricted area without authorization. And then there's reverse social engineering, where you trick someone into seeking you out for assistance, making them more likely to trust you.
Let's talk about some different password attacks.
Alright, let's dive into password attacks. There's brute force, where attackers try every possible combination of characters until they crack the password. Dictionary attacks use a list of common words and phrases. Then there's hybrid attacks, which combine dictionary words with numbers and symbols.
What about password spraying? Does that fall under brute force?
Password spraying is a type of brute force attack, but it's a bit more targeted. Instead of trying lots of passwords on one account, attackers try a few common passwords across many accounts. They're hoping that at least a few people use those easy passwords.
What do you think is the most effective way of identifying some of the brute force attacks?
The most effective way to identify brute force attacks is to monitor for things like multiple failed login attempts from the same IP address or account. You can also look for unusual login times or locations.
What about some of the different password tools like rainbow tables?
Rainbow tables are pre-computed tables that contain the hashes of common passwords. Attackers can use these tables to quickly crack passwords without having to try every combination. They're especially effective against shorter, simpler passwords.
Is that similar or different than like John the Ripper?
John the Ripper is a password cracking tool that uses a variety of techniques, including dictionary attacks, brute force, and hybrid attacks. Rainbow tables are just one specific method that can be used within a tool like John the Ripper. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So how would
Great. So we've covered a lot. So how would you like to continue? We could explore network security, learn about different types of malware, or even discuss career paths in cybersecurity. What piques your interest the most?
How's about just a quick overview and summary on what we've talked about in social engineering?
Sure thing. Social engineering is all about manipulating people to gain access to systems or information. Attackers use psychological tricks to exploit human trust and vulnerabilities. Understanding these tactics is key to defending against them.
Well, let's jump into some questions I have for you.
I'm ready for your questions. What's on your mind?
One of the staff at Eli's organization has reported that a critical vendor has contacted them about an unpaid invoice. After Eli investigates, he discovers that the invoice was sent from an email account that was not typically a contact and that the invoice requested payment to a PayPal account. What type of social engineering attack has Eli most likely discovered? A. Smishing. B. Business email compromise. D. Disinformation. Or D. Typo squatting.
Okay, I understand. You're asking me to choose from the options you've given me. The answer is B. Business email compromise. This type of attack involves an attacker gaining access to a business email account to try and trick employees into sending money or sensitive information to the wrong place.
Why were the other answers not correct?
Okay, let's break down why the other options aren't the best fit. Smishing uses text messages which aren't mentioned in the scenario. Disinformation is about spreading false info, not stealing money. Typo squatting relies on misspelled web addresses, which isn't the case here. So, business email compromise is the most accurate answer.
Eli infects the ads on a website that users from his target company frequently visit with malware as part of his penetration test. What technique did he use? A. A watering hole attack. B. Vishing. C. Whaling. Or D. Typo squatting.
The answer is A. A watering hole attack. This technique involves infecting websites that a specific group of users frequents, in this case, employees of the target company.
Which of the following human vectors is primarily associated with nation state actors? A. Misinformation campaigns. B. Watering hole attacks. C. Business email compromise. Or D. Password spraying.
The answer is A. Misinformation campaigns. Nation-state actors often use these campaigns to spread propaganda, sow discord, or influence public opinion in other countries.
Eli notices that his authentication logs have many different usernames showing failed logins with the same password. What type of attack has he discovered? A. Credential harvesting. B. Impersonation. C. BEC. Or D. Spraying.
The answer is D. Spraying. This type of attack involves trying a few common passwords against many different accounts.
Phishing emails sent pretending to be from a company that recipients are familiar with and likely to respond to is what type of attack? A. Phishing. B. Farming. C. Brand impersonation. Or D. Pretexting.
The answer is C. Brand impersonation. This type of attack involves an attacker pretending to be a well-known company to trick victims into giving up sensitive information.
Eli is concerned about text message-based attacks. Which of the following attacks rely on text message as its primary focus? A. Impersonation. B. Watering hole attacks. C. Smishing. Or D. Business email compromise.
The answer is C. Smishing. Smishing is a type of phishing attack that uses text messages to trick victims into revealing sensitive information or downloading malware.
Thank you for your help studying, Gemini.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I could help. Feel free to reach out anytime you have more questions.
Sounds good. We will pick up on Chapter 5 tomorrow.
Sounds like a plan. I'm here to help whenever you're ready to tackle Chapter 5.